Hey, this is Cece and welcome back to our Fairytale Configurations Book, Part 2. Apart from your configurations book that we did in Part 1, you will need your craft mat, a heat tool, a hot glue gun, a bucket of water, and a paintbrush. Inka in Old Gold, a stencil from the Donna Downey Studios by Prima, and it's number 922405. It is the same stencil we used in Part 1. A palette knife, modeling paste, some gesso, Heidi Swap color shines in Chartreuse, Primrose, and Gold Lame, a roll of washi tape that coordinates with your papers, a bone folder, a pair of small fine tip scissors. We're going to use the leftover of our ornate metal keys that we used in Part 1 from Graphic 45, wooden shaped buttons embellishments by Maya Roth, another set of the Petaloo flowers in Forget-Me-Nots Paprika, a piece of linen thread of about 24 inches, a tiny bottle from Tim Holtz Idea-ology, clear rock candy Distress Stickles dry glitter by Ranger. The papers I'll be using are all from the same collection as before. It is The Fairy Tale of Spring by Peon Design, and here are the names of the papers I'll be using. Lily of the Valley, Hope, Image Sheet, and these three quads paper. This is Lily of the Valley 6x6, Hope 6x6, and Signs of Spring 6x6. A piece of chipboard that measures 4 3/4 by 6 inches. The Resist alphabet from Prima. It is the same that we use in Part 1. Small ring binders from the Tim Holtz Idea-ology collection, a crocodile, as well as 2 large white eyelets. If you don't have white, you can use any other color. You can alter them with gesso. As for the dry adhesive, I'm going to use my ATG gun, but you could also use Suquite tape or red liner tape. So we're continuing with our book, and in the last video we've covered the outside of our book. Now we're going to take care of the inside. And usually the configurations box would come in a configuration where you include all of the boxes to make a nice arrangement. But I want to incorporate a mini album in there with the peon papers. So I've placed them so that I know exactly where my album will be, and I'm going to remove these 3 boxes. These you're not going to need for this project. You can set them aside for a future project. And I've gone ahead and prepared a template for the size of paper that I'm going to need for this mini album. And we're going to use the ring binders by Tim Holtz, the small ones, to bind the album. So this essentially will be glued onto the back part of our box, and the pages will flip like so. So there are a few things that we need to do before we get started on embellishing. We need to cover that side, and now because I have a mini album that's resting in there but it does not fit exactly the dimension of the space, I need to cover the back of this box as well, the interior of the box. In doing so, I also need to edge with our gold Viva Decor, the Inka Gold. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you remember from Part 1, I've taken a brush and some water, and I've just gone around the edges. So I'm going to do the same here. And I'm also going to go inside, just because my paper won't be flush with that, with the spine. I'll have a nice even border just like I did for the other pieces. Okay, so I went a little overboard. I ended up doing 4 sides inside the box just because I'm a perfectionist, and just in case I happen to change my mind with the box configuration, at least I have an even border all around it. Now for the cover, I have this paper, Lily of the Valley, and it's going to be cut at 8 3/4 by 11 3/4, the same as for the front and the back of the book. The inside of the box is smaller, and you need to cut a piece of the Hope paper from the same collection at 8 1/4 by 11, and it fits right in with a nice even border right in there. So I'm going to cut this piece and then I'll glue everything down. Our box is beautifully lined. I love how this looks. Love, love, love that paper. And I've got the inside as well. I've put back the little boxes. I want to line each of these boxes with a picture from this image sheet, again by Peon. And obviously they're not all the proper dimension for these boxes. Some of them are too small for the box, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to incorporate the photo, make it seamless with gesso. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First I'm going to select my images. I'll cut them out and then I'll show you what it will look like before I glue them down. My images are now cut. I'll give you a close-up of each of them so that you can see what they look like first. So this is how I'm going to glue them. And these three here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those probably with gel medium, just because it gives me more room to, it gives me more time to play with them. And also because we're going to add gesso, which is a wet medium, it's better if we have gel medium underneath here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on to our next step. Okay, so I've glued down the images with the gel medium. They're nice and stuck there. I'm going to take this washi tape and I'm going to line the edges of each box with this tape. So here's how I line the boxes with the washi tape. I have unrolled part of the tape and I have the sticky side up facing me, and I'll take the box like so and then I'll just deposit it on the tape. Now what I want to make sure is that the joint is not in one of the corners. So it's like so on the other side. And then instead of taking the tape and rolling it around the box, I will roll the box on top of the tape as I unroll the tape. I hope you can see this well. So I will continue on the four sides. And then you can either cut it with your fingers or with a pair of scissors, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to have the two ends meet like this. So I've got a nice even border on each side. Then I will pull down, but not completely, just over the top, two sides only. So I have a piece like that. I have the four corners kind of like mitered. Then I'll take a pair of scissors, and you can either cut diagonally or straight. I usually cut it straight because the diagonal is never really, it doesn't really matter. It's never goes straight in my opinion. And then I'll pull this flap down towards the inside. And then it's just a matter of pulling the two other sides down. And that will give you a nice, even, mitered corner all around it. And it just makes it cleaner. And then if you want, you can secure everything, go over all around the edges with a bone folder, just to press down the adhesive that's on the tape, because we all know that washi tape is removable. So it will tend to lift a little bit temporarily. Once it's down, it's down. It will be permanent, but I always like to go around the edges with the bone folder and just press down. Our next step is to prepare the embellishments for inside the boxes, and I've removed, I've used the flowers, the petaloo flowers, the little wooden buttons, and some of the keys that were left over from part one, and I've just put them in the individual boxes. They're not exactly in place, it's just to give me an idea. So what I need to do now is I need to figure out which embellishments I'm going to add color shine to. Obviously the heart is going to be done with primrose, so I'm going to spray that, and I think I'm going to add the chartreuse on these to the top one here. Let me zoom back out. And the keys, I will gesso them. Now, the reason why I want to gesso the keys in advance is because a lot of them are right on top of the images, and I'm not going to go in with the gesso that far. I still want to retain those beautiful images. So the keys, and I'm going to gesso the keys. I'm going to add some color shine to the buttons. And then I'll glue everything down inside the boxes, and then I'll be ready to gesso, do my final gessoing inside the boxes. Before I glue anything down, I'm going to tie my linen thread in the buttons. Okay, so now everything is glued down and it is time to gesso. So for this, I'm going to get the boxes out of the actual box, or the book. I'm going to grab some gesso and a bit of water. Let's see, maybe I'll use a smaller brush because I really don't want to cover up all the image. So I'm going to start with the flowers, give them a good gesso, but not really obliterating the whole color. And I'm also going to go up the sides into, I don't know if you can see well, into the washi tape. That's also going to help out some of the tape that's pulling up. And as for the image, what I do is I just go around the box and walking the gesso into the image. So that way when you look at the front of the box, it won't show so much that the image is smaller than the box. So here's what it looks like. As you can tell, I sort of fanned in, if that's a word, if that's an expression, but I went in with the gesso and kind of like flicked it inside the image. So in essence, what you're going to see from the top of the box is the accent will be on the image, and the flowers are a little bit subdued because we added gesso. So the true focus of the box is the actual image. I might go around another time with just a little bit of diluted gesso just to make sure that I've covered everything the way I want to. You can add a second layer if you're not satisfied with what you did. I'm not going for something perfect. This is a shabby chic album, so we can't forget that. And I think I'm happy with this. So I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like from all four sides. See how pretty that is? And our little girl is still prominent. So I'm going to do this for all the boxes, and then I'm going to show you, oh, and I forgot, do the outside edges, because you're going to see some of the sides from the inside where the mini album is. There's a side that's going to show. If you only want to do the side that will show, that's fine. But do it. Do the side that will show with gesso. That's what I meant to say. Alright, I'm going to go do that now. Okay, so I'm going to put back the boxes inside the book because I want to find the exact placement for the mini album. When you do this step, make sure that the outsides of your box is dry. Okay, so as you can see from the inside, we've got a nice distressed white border, whoops, from the inside. I'm going to glue those down eventually. I just want to don't do them yet because I need some room to maneuver for the mini album. And I'm going to show you a close-up of each of those little pictures. Look how cute they are. That paper is just so beautiful. And the white gesso frames really well all of the pictures. So there we go. Now I'm going to bring in the ring binder. Now you'll notice in each of the packages you have the brads to secure the ring binder to a surface. I did not want to put the brads through the box because I was afraid that in doing so, even by covering it with paper, it would make a bump. I didn't want to have any bumps on the outside. So what I'm going to end up doing is just using the brads in a decorative way, just like I did for the frame on the top. And I'm going to fold in those prongs, and then I'm going to secure that with my hot glue gun. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be secure for a long, long time. Might have to secure them just temporarily because they tend to slide out. So I think I'm going to add just a little bead of glue here, and that will hold. Oops, I've got a glue line here. So this is just to secure it. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. See if I can do this on camera without burning myself. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the album part of this project. Okay, so here's my game plan for the album. This is the size of pages that I'm looking for. This will be used for the cover of the album. On the top of the album, I'm going to choose this paper because it is the mini version of this page. So I thought it would tie into it really well. So I'm going to cover that chipboard with this piece. And at the bottom of this album, I'm going to add 2013 from our distressed alphabets that we used in part 1. I'm going to zap it with the chartreuse, and I will also texturize this with the same damask that we have on the cover of our book. So I'm going to start by doing the letters. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to let that dry. So each of the papers are going to be 4 3/4 by 6. For the top of the album, which is the cover here, I'm just going to glue this down and then I'll cut around it. Okay, so we're almost done. I cut down all the pages for the album, and for the cover I covered the front, and I also chose another pattern paper to cover the back. Don't forget that when you cover the back, your album will flip this way, so it would be nice to have the patterns facing the right way if you have a pattern like that. So all my pages are ready. The pages that I chose are white in the back, and that's okay because it will give the recipient an opportunity to actually journal in the back, and it would be nice to stamp. Just if you have a line stamped, that would be perfect to stamp in the back so that you can write the journaling. I'm just going to leave it blank for the sake of expediency. Now we're going to work some more on our cover, and I just bent it. And I have the same damask stencil that we used yesterday. Not yesterday, but on Tuesday. And I will grab my palette knife and the modeling paste, and I will do the same treatment as I did for the album cover. So I'm going to choose my spots. I want something here at the bottom just because the patterns are not repeating at the bottom. I cut it down, so I need something First I need to decide where my letters are probably going to be like right here, so I think I'm going to start here. And just like I did on the cover, I really don't want to be too thorough. I just want to have something nice. Ooh, I like that. That's really pretty. Might add some on top. Yeah. And now I sort of goofed because remember yesterday I started in that corner? There was a reason for it. Oh well, I'm just going to go for it. I do need to add some here. I'm going to try and not damage what I had. Not bad. Not bad. I might just remove those. There we go. Dries up pretty quickly, so when you lay this down, just make sure that you're going in the spot that you intended. There's some that bled through, so I'm just going to remove that. And maybe just a little one here. Oh, I think I'm going to choose that guy here at the bottom. Just so that I have my rule of 3. Perfect. I like that. And then I'll put the year right here. So I'm going to go wash up my stencil. Okay, so it's already dry. It really doesn't take a long time to dry. I just had time to wash the stencil and it was already dry. So now we're going to add the same treatment that we did, remember, for the page, for our cover. And I think I'm just going to pick up the gesso right off the jar. I'm not going to bother with okay. So I'm just going to sort of, I'm going to go around the edges because I see a bit of the chipboard showing through. So I'm going to add the gesso. Actually, I might make it thicker just for added interest. Oh, I like that. See how pretty that is? I think I'm going to leave it like that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Is drying. I'm going to mark the holes for where I need to punch, and I'll do that on the papers first. I'll just take one for now. I have the other ring binder that came with in the package, so I'm just going to measure. I'll eyeball it. I'm not really too concerned about the width. What I really want is to find 2 rings. So I know that they're exactly where I want them to be. And just to make sure that I'm lined up properly, I'm going to take my T ruler and I don't want it too high, but I don't want it too low. One thing I have to remember, oh perfect, we're going to go right over. No, I think we're going to be okay for the birds. I don't want to punch right inside into the birds. So I think we're going to, yeah, I think this is low enough. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to punch here and I'm going to punch here. I'm going to grab the crocodile, and first of all I'm going to make sure that all my pages are facing the right way. So with the crocodile you can go through multiple layers, which I absolutely love. So one here. I mean, I do have 10 papers in there, which is great. To be able to punch through all those layers is fantastic. I need to be able to see my little guy here. I think I'm going to do all that I need to do on this before doing anything else to it, before punching the holes. What I want to do now is, yes, you guessed it, I want to zap it with the gold lame. And this time I'm going to make sure that I'm on camera. So I'm going to put the cover inside here, and I'll have to get up for this. You have to shake your bottle until you hear the little ball. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to go lightly in the corner here just to make sure that I want it heavier in certain areas, and I think maybe here. Ooh, I like that. And oh, I forgot. I wanted to glue the key before I actually spray this. Let me go ahead and glue it. I'm just going to zap it one more time with the key. There we go. Ooh, nice. Ooh, I like that puddle. Maybe I'll do another puddle here. Oh yeah. Let's do another one up top. Okay. Oh, can you guys see this? Look how gorgeous this is. Oh! Alright, I'm going to dry this up. Be right back. I forgot to do something. I wanted to add a little bow with a linen thread on the key, so I think I might still be able to do it. Yeah. So I'm just going to pass this through the hoop of that charm and do a little bow. Should be long enough to make a bow. Now, I could have added, my glue is wet, I could have added flowers to the top of the album, but here's the thing. The album right now has no pictures, has no photos, and as you will add photos, the album will get thicker and thicker. I didn't want to run into the chance of having it thicker than the actual thickness of the book, because don't forget we have a cover to close, and if it doesn't close properly then it's no good. So that is why I didn't want to add any flowers to the album cover. So this, I think, is just enough to make it interesting, but and it's not going to hinder the closing construction or mechanism. So I might just use a little bit of glossy accents when I'm done to secure the bow on the key. And is this dry? Yeah, I'm gonna add our year. I'm gonna start it right here. Yay! Love it! Okay, so that is the cover. We have our pages. I'm going to use one of the pages to punch through the cover. I sincerely hope this video is not going to be too long, but it is kind of a long project. That's why I decided to break it down to two parts. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to add our brads to the top of the album. And two. It's that easy. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I should add some gold just to cover those up. Okay, this is an afterthought, guys. This was not planned. It's not bad. The Inca gold helps a little bit. Whoops, I didn't want it around here. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so in hindsight, if you have gold brads, I would use gold brads instead. This is fine. I'll show you a close-up. Here we go. So that's okay. So I'm going to make sure that this is really dry before I add the that to our final book, and I'll just have to glue the boxes off camera. I'll do that off camera, but you just know that you have to do it. I just have to glue the binding and we'll be done. Okay, one thing that you have to remember is when you put the binding, before you glue it down, open it. I've opened the ring so that when I glue it down, when it's glued down, I don't have to click it open and risk the chance of damaging it. Now, the one thing I'm a little bit concerned about is, let's do a test run first, is if, oh, perfect, look at that. I was afraid that the pages might touch the box below here. I calculated properly, but you never know. Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Okay, let's glue this down. So I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to make sure that my boxes are well in place, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of glue on. I'll do this off camera because what you're not seeing right now is me adding a lot of glue inside that the binding system, because I'm at the end of my glue stick. Okay, here we go. Ouch, sorry about that. I just bumped into you guys. Hold this down for a little bit. This is not going to go anywhere, by the way. This is secure. Okay. Now we can add our pages. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Oh, I forgot to do something. I can do it after. I can do it after. Okay, so let's click that into place. I'm going to take these two boxes here. Alright, I want to, so I'm just adding a dab of glue behind each of these boxes. It's just enough to, I mean, this is the amount of glue that I'm adding, so just so you guys see. While I'm working here, let's chat. When I posted the photos of the cover on Tuesday, I was floored by the amount of likes that we had in just, I'm talking seconds. I have no idea how that worked, but by the time I finished posting the pictures and the time that I posted the link to the actual video, we had 33 likes. And that's, I just have to thank you guys. You're just amazing. You're just so amazing, and I wouldn't keep doing it if it weren't for your support and enthusiasm. It's great. So thank you, thank you. Look at that. Oh, it's too bad the lighting is not good in here. You'll probably see it better with the photos. I'm just going to add a little bit of gold shimmer to this page. I didn't want to texturize this just because I'm afraid it won't close properly, because this fits snugs over the top of these boxes. So I'm going to cover this side, and I'm just going to do a bit of spraying, and then I'll be right back. Oh my goodness, I was going to forget something. I have a little bottle here. I wanted to add some dry stickles to it. I'm going to make a little funnel with a tiny piece of paper. I'm going to open this so that funnel idea works. I don't want to add, it's going to get glued down right inside this guy here. I wanted to add it here. So I'm going to put some glue at the bottom and just sit it right here. Oh, love it. So that's it. We're done. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate. And you can come by the store and check it out for yourself. It'll be on display. One thing I have to mention also is that when I was at the store this afternoon, Karen, one of our sales associate, mention that this would be a beautiful jewelry box. I wanted to pass that along to you, and I guess I will see you from the road. I'll try and capture some moments from Boston with the 4 of us. And in the meantime, keep well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!